Yo, what's up, everybody? Z here, and I actually want to talk about this leaked information or new information we have about the zombie map called Mob of the Dead. It actually kind of makes sense because if you think back to Black Ops 1, the second map released was called Call of the Dead. It featured some new characters that we hadn't seen before, so possibly maybe this new map would feature the old characters, and we have to help the new characters. Um, so that got me thinking, what would be, the Mob of the Dead? It kind of reminded me of maybe a prison mob or something like that. The most famous prison that I can think of is Alcatraz Island, which a lot of people think the next map will be a water map. So that would actually fit right in. Instead of a boat, we'd be on this little island. The island itself was developed with facilities with a lighthouse, a military fortification, a military prison, and a federal prison. So I was thinking, that's four stops. Could it possibly be a second transit mode or something like that? Really not sure. It says in 1972 it became a national recreation area and was managed by the National Park Service. Which, if you think back to transit, Ted actually says, welcome to Yellowstone Park. We all know Treyarch; they're not going to make things obvious. So maybe that was just a hint to this. Um, Also, Native Americans kept well away from the island, calling it the Evil Island and believed it to be cursed. So that was kind of interesting. A guy named Juan Manuel was one of the first to document the island, calling it La Isla de los Alcatraces or something like that, whatever it is, which translate as the island of the pelicans. So could we possibly be seeing some sort of zombie birds or something like that? In 1827, a French captain sailing past the island wrote, "The island was covered with countless numbers of these birds. A gun fired over the feathered legions caused them to fly up in a great cloud with noise of a hurricane." So again, could that possibly be zombie birds or something like that? Um, there's also a huge water tower featured on the island. Obviously, they had to bring water from the mainland, and that kind of got me thinking. Everybody was interested in the water tower on transit. It stood out a lot, and a lot of people were wondering about that. Could that possibly be a clue? The island had a huge arsenal of firearms. To prevent them from falling into the wrong hands, Alcatraz built a heavily fortified military site on the west coast. It formed a triangle of defense. So if you think back, Moon had a pyramid. Transit also had a pyramid hidden in it, and a lot of people thought this might be a clue to an Egypt map, but maybe it was possibly maybe a clue to this triangle of defense that they're talking about here. Reasons why this might be what I think would be an awesome map. Um, First, it features a boat dock. Obviously, you had to take boats to get to the island. Um, Next, there's also the chapel. I mean, how creepy would that be to have this old church? Also, there was the church in transit, so that could also possibly be another clue. Um, Next, there was the helipad. Um, Maybe what I was thinking was maybe you use helicopters to get around. The helipad was described as a huge open area, which would actually be perfect for running zombie trains. So, that sounded kind of nice. Um, Next, we have the library, um, which remember the old books back in Nuketown with Richmond's name on it, and so I was thinking maybe that was kind of a clue to this. That's also described as a big open area. There's also the lighthouse, which obviously we've already seen that. The morgue, which I thought that would be pretty creepy to have a zombie morgue. We're running around this morgue with dead inmates all around us. There's also a powerhouse instead of a power plant. I was thinking maybe they have this powerhouse as one of the stops. An interesting fact is it said that the smokestack was said to give the appearance of a ship's mast, which we've all heard about the tweets from Treyarch employees about a boat. So again, Treyarch's not going to make anything too obvious. Could this possibly be another clue? There's also the warden's house. The warden and his family stayed there. I was kind of picturing it like Sam's room from, if you guys remember back to Kino. One of Sam's rooms was actually fine and in order, looked like a normal kid's room. The other room was kind of destroyed and on fire and things like that. Well, the warden's house was actually burned down in 1970. So, that could be a play off of that. And then there's also the water tower, which again, we've already seen. So some of the habitat of Alcatraz that would make it an awesome zombie map. First is the cisterns, a bluff that because of its moist crevices is important to salamanders. I mean, that would be pretty cool. Also, there's the tide pools. It was created by long ago quarrying activities. Still contains unidentified invertebrate species and algae. So that's kind of creepy, these little tide pools or whatever they are that contain unidentified animals. Maybe that's where the zombies from Die Rise come from. Everybody says they look amphibious. So, and then last there's the agave path, a trail named for its dense growth of agave. Provides a nesting habitat for night herons, which I was thinking, if this could be possibly a second transit mode, that would be kind of our, instead of a cornfield, we have this agave path. Plus, again, it mentions birds, so could that possibly be a play off of zombie birds? I don't know. Again, I heard about this new map, this new leaked information. Figured I'd do a little bit of research. So, yeah, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I'm Z, and I'm out.